Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the Old Gods of Appalachia rules by Monte Cook Games. This actual play is performed by adults and contains adult themes. We welcome you to our hollers and the depths beneath them, but take caution. For all content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., which may bear resemblance to entities living or from places unknown, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's tale, I will be your game master. Hey, everybody. Just a quick note on this episode. It is a live recording from a convention very recently at PAXU Unplugged in Philadelphia. And so, as you might be used to hearing with sound effects and relatively low background noises and foibles, this recording is recorded live, and so it has had minimal editing, and there are no music or sound effects as you get the wonderful room noise and all of our clattering. Hopefully you enjoy the tale, and we welcome you to Kayboro, although it doesn't appear like a very welcoming place. Now, to introductions.
Hello, this is Mare. I am playing Clara Carr, who is a mystical sage who crafts powerful objects.
Okay, and to my right,
This is Morgan, and I'm playing Preacher Elijah Carr, who's a superstitious speaker who becomes the beast.
and joining us last but most certainly not least.
Hi, I'm Skip. I'm playing Samson, who's a stout protector who manifests the mountains.
Fabulous. Okay, so we are live-ish. I sort of used the parentheses there at the end. We are live-ish at PAXU inside the Monte Cook Games room, and we are bringing you a little sampling of Old Gods of Appalachia. And so if you listened to our family reunion series, which had some familiar characters here you likely see in here at the table, then this story will be especially good for you. So we are going to raise the curtain tonight on our stage, and we are going to look in on a town, and that town's name is Kayboro. And so Kayboro is a relatively small town of about 400 people. So the town of Kayboro has a train station, which is a sure good thing. That's sure people need a train station. And the reason why it has a train station is because the number 3 mine is also in Kayboro. So the number 3 mine and the train station have brought a couple of things. They've brought just a little bit of money into Kayboro itself. And with that money came a new baseball field. And as we open our curtain in Kayboro, West Virginia, we are going to look in on that station as 2 familiar faces get off the train. So for timeline purposes, this story will take place before the family reunion episode series that we put out. And so, Clara, you've gone on one of your first, we'll say, adventures in book trading and book finding with your cousin, the freshly minted pastor, Elijah. And you're doing so because, from what you understand, there is another pastor, a preacher here of the Church of God with Signs Following, that evidently has some secrets of how to control copperhead snakes. And it has become all the rage throughout the space here, these West Virginia, these hills, that this church has the ability to control snakes and get them to evoke things, these rumors of things happening behind church doors, of entire congregations of people who are casting their hands up to the Lord and controlling snakes. And frankly, that is a story that you need to write about.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll pick up there with the 2 of you at the train station. We'll say it is about midday. It's a weekday. We'll make it a Wednesday. And you've traveled to Kayboro, West Virginia, and we'll roll the ball out. There's a bustling town in front of you, general store. There's a leather working and leather goods store. There's a blacksmith that's not terribly far. You can hear the ring of the hammer on the iron that sort of gives a bit of a rhythm and beat to the universe around here. This is a sleepy town, too. So there's maybe no more than 20 or 30 people bustling around here. You'd know that the mine, it being active, number 3 mine, so being a working day, most of these people are going to be out working at the mine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cousin Clara, you know nobody can control snakes.
I never would have put it on anyone to try and control a snake. Only good one's a dead one.
Yeah.
That's the
Amen
family
to that.
motto.
Amen to that. Yeah. Listen, this is all blasphemous.
It is.
Our good Lord would not allow this to happen.
All right, there's something going on within it, and I don't know. This seems really suspicious. It makes me wonder, is there some sort of thing wrong with the snakes making them more docile or something? Because a copperhead's rough. Those are not kind.
Oh, remember when Uncle Amos got bit by one? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Ankle size of a basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then died.
And died after that, yes. Like, that was,
He died.
he died.
Yeah. That happened. He shouldn't have been messing around with them snakes.
I
He
know.
was on that moonshine, that awful, awful moonshine.
I don't know why they keep trying to make that. It's never going to be that good.
You see a gentleman in a railroad uniform come out from the station. He sort of pats the dust off of his hat, and you see that his left hand here, Clara, you see, has got a line of thick black that runs up his forearm all the way to his elbow. And it almost glistens. Not as if it's wet, but there's just like somebody took a stitch of paint and just went right up his elbow.
And so I see this as his arm, as he's just.
Yeah, he's like rolling up his sleeves. He's pulled out a pipe and he's working the
This is me.
tobacco into the end of it.
This is me as like the history person sitting here going, how big were tattoos like that back in the day?
Tattoos in this era probably pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
Likely tattoos, maybe by maybe I'd say they're pretty rare. They
At least not
exist.
anything that would be this bold and brazen, right there.
And this is not smooth. This is not a beautiful, elegant piece that runs up his arm. This looks like, again, somebody took a paintbrush and just right up his arm.
All right, there you go.
But it catches your eye.
Sir, pardon me. You got something on your arm right there.
Yes, ma'am. He turns to you and you see him sort of put the hat back on. And when he smiles, you see that there is this weight of the same sort of black that's under his right eye that comes all the way back towards his ear.
Oh, sir. Oh, you've got it all over there. Now, hold on just a second. And she would reach into her pocket to grab a kerchief and would start to offer it to him.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't wash off.
Doesn't wash off. Are you washing well enough?
Yes, ma'am. He sort of stutters out. Yes, Pastor Moon says that he'll be able to help me with it.
Pastor Moon.
Oh, yeah, up at the church there.
Oh.
He points, and you see up the hill, there is this sort of just poking out right between a few of the trees. There's this little steeple
Hmm.
and a slight cross that you can make out.
Huh. And Pastor Moon, is he from Kayboro?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. He runs the Church of God up there.
Ah. Well, we were coming here. We were hearing something. I think we had heard something about that, hadn't we, cousin? We had heard something.
We sure had. Listen, that pastor's not healing nobody. That is just blasphemous. And I feel like Satan is here.
You say
in the
Satan, and like you see the guy's eyes get as big as half dollars. Satan? No, you're mistaken. You're mistaken. Pastor Moon's been real helpful to everybody around here.
Oh, the only one that heals anybody is our Lord God.
Well, that's who Pastor Moon's talking to.
So he's claiming to be a prophet?
Well, sure.
Oh, I didn't know we had any of those here in these United States.
That's something I should probably write down. And she takes out a little notepad and starts scribbling that down. New prophet, West Virginia.
I put my hand over. Don't write that down.
I think y'all ought to go up there and talk to him. You'll see just for yourself.
Oh, we
That
sure
sounds like
will.
a great idea.
I might have to report him to. Well, that's not Catholic. Well, it's a Catholic church.
No,
no,
these
are
ones.
Baptist.
You're
They're
probably a
Baptist.
Baptist preacher, if
Yeah.
anything.
You're something with an
but
ist on the end.
I was totally, yeah.
Baptist, Methodist.
Yes, I was totally a
Um,
Baptist preacher.
yeah.
And at this point,
Presbyterianists.
yeah, at this point, preacher Elijah isn't a heavy drinker as of yet. So,
As of yet?
you know, but I'm newly minted and
Ooh, that's a fun idea.
yeah.
Maybe we'll find out why you're such a heavy drinker.
Maybe it's because of this.
Shocking news.
Maybe the uncle's moonshine actually helped you.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, and after you return from being
That's
blind.
it. That's the story.
Ta-da, we're done.
Yay.
Okay, so Samson, it has been an awful tough day in the mine. Y'all are breaking for lunch, which is fortunate that you get a lunch and you get the chance to come out. A lot of fellas just eat inside because it's easier. But your granny's been telling you recently that it might be a good idea for you to every day come out and get some fresh air because she's been seeing people come out of the mines after years working in there and being real unhealthy. And she's worried about you. And so she, helps you and your mom put sandwiches and whatnot together for you and the rest of your cousins and whatnot to eat. So you come out and just like half the days here, when you come out of the mine, these fellas at the mine are fighting. So there is one thing that living in Kayboro is that people here like to fight. They're rowdy. The people here like to do what's called rowdy fighting. So it's different. And so usually when you get into a fight in Kayboro, and you've been in more than a few scrapes, outside of a bar or whatnot, there's a code that everybody lives by. And they say, you want to fight rough and rowdy, you want to fight fair. And if a fellow wants to fight rough and rowdy, that means biting, clawing, it's all on the table. If somebody wants to fight fair, then it's simple fisticuffs and see who's the best man.
Right.
You come out into this, melee, and there's two fellers who probably been picking at the same sort of field, so to speak. They're looking at the same girl, and so they decide to have it out. And there's probably a ring of 4 or 5 people around watching. And the trouble here for you is foreman ain't going to like anybody fighting because it's going to put people out of work. And that means that somebody has to break things up. And oftentimes that someone ends up being you.
Well, Samson will come out, just kind of stretch his neck a little bit, having been bent down for so long, picking at some of the rocks that are in there and just kind of look around, look at the two boys fighting, kind of shake his head, wipe his brow. Samson himself stands about 6'6". He's 350 pounds of pretty much pure muscle.
Wow.
He's got a bald head, but he's got a very thick black beard that he just kind of scratches for a second, walks over right in between like people who are watching and just goes, "Boys, you need to cut that out, especially here at lunchtime. I want to get paid this week." And just see how they react first.
Yeah, you see a couple of the other guys as sort of you come in, they separate. You part the sea, right? As Moses might, because you're a head taller than most of the fellas around here, if not more. Most mine workers, honestly, they look for people who are about average size or smaller because you got to be able to get in.
Right.
And those smaller boys will fight to the bone too, and that's what you're worried about. 2 weeks ago, 2 of these guys who are not fighting this week got into a bad scrap, and the foreman suspended them both without pay. And so when you talk about pay, a lot of the folks who are here on the periphery of the fight, they kind of start nodding and backing off a little bit. Hey, what?
You said periphery.
We're like,
Oh, yeah.
we're there.
The sleeper agents.
Yes, the
woke
sleeper
up.
agent. Oh my gosh!
We're
Wait,
just like,
why are we here?
We're on the ship.
Where's my power armor? No,
Which periphery?
Yeah, like which one?
there are two. Anyway, totally different game. So they're at the edge of the fight. There, I won't activate our sleeper agents by accident. But the two boys in the middle, they don't slow down.
Okay.
And so you're going to have to probably do something a little different.
All right. Well, Samson will just kind of stretch again. Says, excuse me. And I'll just kind of walk right in the middle of them.
Yeah.
Grab one by the one collar, one by the other, and just kind of throw them to the side.
I love that for you
Mhm.
and our story. And so what I will say is each of these would normally be a difficulty 2 task, but because you're trying to sort of command both of them at the same time, I'm going to
Mhm.
raise the difficulty of this challenge to 3, which makes it a 9 or better on your roll. Now, you can, if you'd like to, tell
Mhm.
me maybe how you're going to utilize an asset or a trained skill that you might have to overcome that or lessen the target.
Okay. I think Samson actually has an ability where he's kind of trained in breaking things. And this could be like breaking up a fight. Could be.
Okay. I like the argument here.
Mhm.
So the idea is that you're breaking up the fight
Right.
rather than breaking the people.
Breaking the people, right?
Okay.
Because I want Samson wants to get paid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a people
Samson-
breaker.
well, right. Okay. So I will make that a difficulty 2 task, which
Okay.
is a 6 or better.
6 or
so
better.
6 or better than 20.
All right.
Yeah, our first roll.
And I get a 4. So
Fabulous.
I fail. Excellent.
So you go to
Mhm.
pull these folks apart, and worse than pulling them apart and
Mhm.
failing at it, you get caught up in this melee.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you make a immediate defense roll, because what I'm going to do is I'm
Okay.
going to play your GM intrusion,
Mhm.
and I'm going to say that not only does this go bad, it goes awful.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 1 XP, and I'm going to allow you to give 1 to the rest of your compatriots who you've not yet met.
Okay.
So one of them will get 1 of it. And I'm going to intrude on this scene and say that you now have an immediate defense challenge because someone's going to try to sock you in the nose.
Okay. All right. So how do I roll? What do I do for the defense?
It's a difficulty 3 test.
A difficulty 3
So
test.
it's 9 or better.
Okay. That is a 20.
Okay, natural 20.
Mhm.
Very good. You get punched, but they don't hit you in the nose.
Mhm.
They hit you square in the upper chest. And when they hit you, there is an immediate thump that everybody here hears. Everybody hears you get hit. And people kind of get quiet and concerned. And you see this guy start holding his wrist, and he's like, Samson, I'm awful sorry about that. You got to understand that this jackrabbit over here, he is trying to take Sally Miller from me, and that's not going to happen.
First of all, Sally doesn't like either one of you.
That's God's truth.
I talked to her the other day, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with either one of you jackasses. So what I want you to
Wow.
do is I want you to go back, sit over there, eat your sandwich, and pretend that you did not try to hit me. Can you remember that?
Oh yeah. He sort of steps away very calmly, very quietly, and meekly goes over, and you see him sort of unfurl a crumbled paper brown bag and reach into his lunch. See, the other guy doesn't do much other than the same. He goes to an opposite corner effectively and just, breaks up what he was trying.
He'll kind of just shake his head at everybody else. Sit, go eat. We only got about 30 minutes.
Which is where we encounter our next challenge. So when they pulled you into this fight,
Mhm.
unfortunately, they also stepped on your lunch. or someone did. And so you don't have anything to eat, which means you're going to have to hike into town to get something.
You two, he points at the people that we're fighting, are going to cover for me while I go get my lunch, which means you're going to have to haul all that out by yourselves this time. I'll be back as soon as I fill my belly. You understand?
They nod.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, boys. Shake his head, start walking down the trail back towards the town.
And luckily, the trail is pretty well worn. There are some cars that are attached to rails, like hand cars that you could jump on and basically take down the hill. It'd be easier than walking faster. You'll have to pump your way back up, but so be it.
Yeah, so be it.
There's always somebody that needs to go back up to the mine. So
that's what I'll do then. I'll start pumping.
So you two in town see something rather fun. At least it looks fun. You see an enormous giant of a man on a hand car that's likely a little too small for him, sort of easing his way down the mountain. And it looks sort of like he's bopping up and down in rhythm. And that's kind of comical. It gets hard. He doesn't fit this cart. And you can tell that he's sort of covered in soot. You know, he's a really large man. You can see him struggling to sort of slow the cart down enough before he comes to an end at one of the end tracks near the station.
Oh, my gosh, it's like Goliath has come back to life.
That is quite a gentleman right there.
Do I see these two?
You do. You see a couple of folks in the train station just sort of probably walking a little bit away from the train station at this point. It's not uncommon for there to be newcomers when it comes to a place like Kayboro. Folks arrive in all the time, mostly because the number 3 mine here she is giving and giving and giving. And so there's an awful lot of business that comes with that.
Samson will kind of step off once he finally gets it to his stop, and then step up on the platform, kind of wipe his brow again, look over to you two and say, "Ma'am, sir,
no.
Sorry, I just came down from the mine. Apologize if I'm it's a little hot up there."
Clara still has her handkerchief, and she's going to offer it out to him.
Much obliged.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Samson.
Oh,
my big
Clara.
beefy. Nice to meet you.
Clara Carr. And this is my brother, Elijah.
Cousin.
Cousin.
I mean, it could be brother.
Well, brother in the churchly sense. Oh, yes. Brother, pastor, cousin.
We're gonna
just keep adding titles at this point.
He can be your brother too.
Yeah,
in the Lord.
We're all brothers.
Right.
We're all brothers
We're
and
all
sisters
brothers
here.
Pastor, eh?
Preacher.
Are you affiliated with the church up on the hill there?
No. Can you tell us anything about Pastor Moon?
I don't like him.
Oh.
There's one.
Yeah.
I don't. I used to go to church before he came along, and I'm a big guy, but I don't really like snakes. They don't like me.
Understandable.
So the more I can avoid them, I mean, I got a bunch of timber rattlers up in here by the mine anyway. I don't need to deal with them on my Sundays on my day off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's he doing with them snakes?
I have no idea.
Is he some kind of healer with it? Like, he's like getting the venom and fixing it so when people do get bit?
I'm not sure, ma'am. You might want to talk to my granny. She kind of knows a lot about what goes on in town. I'm usually up at the mines, but she's kind of between the 3 of us, she's kind of the town know-it-all. So
we have some of those in our family
we
too.
do have some of those.
Yeah.
It's Clara.
Well, okay.
She's just right down the road there.
I'm on my way.
My house is right there. I could take you there. I'm actually going down to get me another sandwich because, anyway, it's a long story.
Oh, if you can make an introduction to your granny, that would be lovely.
Absolutely.
And a sandwich.
Oh, sandwich would be nice, actually. I'm a little peckish myself.
Okay, so y'all go down the trail that leads to Granny's house. She is, as you could imagine, as welcoming as ever to guests. She did not expect to see you. So the 2 of you meet a a wizened woman. She is likely in an advanced age. Still moves reasonably well. She's about 5'5". It's probable she was taller, maybe earlier in life.
Mhm.
She wears really big glasses, really big, and she has dark, like raven dark hair, but at the edge on like the right hand side of her head is all white, and it goes all the way back. And when you get there, Clara, you feel like a sizzle in this room.
Ooh.
Like this feels like your granny's house. Like there's juice here. You also all smell something cooking on the stove. Smells like soup.
Mm.
She says, "Samson, boy, what you doing here?"
The boys got into a fight up there, and one of them stepped on my lunch.
Oh, saints alive.
I had,
Stepped on your lunch.
yeah.
Well, come in out of there. You got people with you, I see. Who are these
Yeah.
folks?
This is Miss Clara, and this is Preacher. I'm sorry,
Preacher Elijah.
Elijah.
Yeah.
I got Preacher cousin brother. There was a whole lot of conversation.
Preacher cousin,
going on.
yeah, preacher cousin, brother Fox.
Yep.
Interesting.
Met them at the train station. They're asking about the pastor up on the hill, so I figured they'd talk to you, and
See,
you know more about it than I do, man.
Slight flash of storm clouds over her face when she mentions the pastor from the church up on the hill.
Mm.
Well, if y'all are friends of the church up there with moon runs, I don't know how well we'll be friends, but I'm happy to feed you.
For us, I would not say that friendship was our main priority. I'm a bookwoman by trade.
Mm.
And as we were passing through, I did hear tales of this working with copperheads, and that was just something I had to see for myself. And I brought my dear cousin with me, being a man of the Lord. It supposed that insight might also come in handy.
Well, I'll say this. Moon's people say that they believe in God, but Lord tells me that maybe something different.
They
Come on
missed
in.
the book of Exodus, or not Exodus, Genesis in the beginning.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm still reading.
Sure.
Right. So they missed that part where he was a snake.
You're
Yeah.
just on Genesis, cousin,
I skipped to the good parts.
Revelations.
Well, I got some.
Christmas. I know the Christmas ones.
I got some soup for y'all, and there's also some. Make up some sandwiches.
Mhm.
I got to put something in this boy.
Hmm?
Oh, that would be so kind of you, Granny.
That's so nice.
Yeah, come on in.
I hope we don't impose, but I do
No.
appreciate the insight, And she's feeling the room. She's kind of sensing it, taking it in, and you can see that she's kind of settled into it herself.
Yeah.
Just like
What you see here reminds you a lot of
Great.
Gran's room, right? Which is there is something that there's no overt big, flashing sign that says I do stuff. What you see are, well, here's this component here, and boy, well, you'd use that too for that, and you'd use that for that. And it's just all these little things that make up where she's at, around the hearth, around the stove that she's cooking on. So there's a table which she asks you to sit at. She pours you some tea and makes sandwiches for all of you, and then puts little bowls of soup out, and then sits sort of at the end.
reminds you of Gran's, doesn't it, Elijah?
Oh, it is just warm and cozy in here. I could stay here all day.
Makes me feel like home.
Granny's soup is the talk of the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with the old number 3 putting out a whole lot of coal, there's a lot of folks coming into town. There's a lot of people looking to get their part of Kayboro, and that is why we're real careful about who we give our hospitality to sometimes. Some of
That's understandable.
these business folk here, they're slicker than you, a snake.
So, do many of these business folk go up to the church themselves?
Some of them, yeah. Not all, though. B&L folks don't go near there, but they've been told not to.
B&L, the train line?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They've been told, that's what I hear, to not go to that church. They don't want to seem to give any sort of favoritism.
Ah.
You see, that church is not the only church here in town. The assemblies that was here before, and I say before, was the church I went to. Now we pretty much get together Sundays around the oak and just read from scripture.
So the church itself, the other churches are gone?
The other church that was here in Kayboro is gone.
Like the building's gone?
Yeah, it took fire, unfortunately, about 6 months ago.
Yep.
Is that when Pastor Moon started his snake business?
No, Pastor Moon's been around for some time. In fact, he went to church there at the assemblies for, 10, 15 years.
Oh. When did the snake business start?
Well, near as I can figure, it must have been probably about a year ago or so. There was a night where Moon convinced some folks that he could talk to God and that it was his duty to talk to God. And everybody's relationship with the Almighty is sort of their own business here in Kayboro. Folks don't want to pry because it's personal. We want people to mind their own business, but be respectful. It's not hard.
Mm-mm.
And then he started talking about how he could control snakes. And a bunch of fellers laughed at him. And then some folks went up there and they saw him do it. And then the story started getting told around the watering holes and around the mines. I'm sure that you heard it down in the old number 3 while you were picking at coal. People talk about anything. And one of the things they talked about was Pastor Moon telling people he could cure their ills, control snakes. He could get bit by copperheads and not die. All sorts of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, the boys down there talk about it all the time. They try to get me to go, and I'm like, nope, not going anywhere near that stuff. Granny taught me right.
You're darn right I did.
So is he some sort of charlatan, some sort of... You think that he's maybe in cahoots with someone else and under the guise?
She sort of looks around the room a little bit as if to judge if other people are watching. You've seen your grand do this too. And she says, Samson over here lost his Uncle John to some folks up there at the church because of all the snake play. He went there just to see if this moon was full of something or not. And they had a bunch of these copperheads running around the church pews. And Moon could raise them up. And he could call them to him and he could hold them without getting bit. And some of these other congregation members tried to do the same thing. And it did not go well for his Uncle John, unfortunately. 3 bites and he was dead before he hit the floor. And then there's this black stuff that some of their congregation members have on their arms and their face and their bodies. And that supposedly, from what I have heard, that's Moon drawing out whatever poison it is to help them survive.
We saw that on someone recently.
We did.
And it's not the soot black that I see from the miners.
Not
no.
like I am. Zeke down there at the mine has that same thing going right up his arm.
On
too.
his arm. They saw someone with it on his face, I guess. So
You see
interesting.
Gran get up from the table and she goes over to the wash basin and she runs the water for just a little bit and brings you a rag and she says, boy, wash your face.
Oh, I'm sorry, Granny. I'm sorry.
Sit at my table and get soot everywhere. Well, if you're fixing to do a little bit more looking when it comes to that church, I'd be real interested to find out what you have. It's my understanding that Pastor Moon's got he calls it a special Bible that he reads out of.
You instantly see that Clara her eyebrows perk up, being a bookwoman herself, and knowing that she has come across more than her fair share of odd tomes. She is highly interested. Well, maybe he'd be willing to let an old bookwoman take a look at that.
Maybe. I know that he said before that he was going to write his own Well, he's going to write his own chapter. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound good to me.
Said he's reading out of a special book. Oh, the only special book out there is the Bible. King James Version.
Well, no matter the version, it doesn't sound to me like what Pastor Moon's got going on is good for anybody.
Oh.
I agree, ma'am.
But I caution the two of you, don't go without some sort of help.
Well, we got a lot of help on our side, but
It'd be God. Amen.
but I suppose we would need an inn some sort of way. Perhaps,
When are y'all thinking about going? You want to go up there today?
Well, I'd rather go before it's too dark for us to see any snakes in the yard.
Well, the boys up there owe me one, so they can cover for the rest of the day. I'll be all right if y'all want to go up there.
That'd be splendid. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. So the group finishes a very fulfilling lunch. Any pool points they might have
I
spent
was
will
about
get
to say,
recovered.
anything magical and cool from Granny's soup?
Yeah, sure. So I think that's a fun way to do
Ask and
things.
ye shall receive
So-
around here. We love that.
Here's what I'll have my players do. I will have them roll a single d6 and tell me what they get.
I got a 6.
Fast. Okay.
1.
One for me as well.
Okay. So here's what I'll do. So we'll make that as if it's a 1d3 roll, right? And so you have 1 and then you have 3. So what I will give you is a discretionary sort of static pool bonus, a point you can spend on any challenge before the end of the day.
Hey.
And yeah, you never know. You don't ask.
Does that
unless-
mean I get 3 of them?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
You bet. You betcha.
Love
having
that for
fun.
me.
Okay. You head out from Grant's house back up the trail towards Kayboro.
Mhm.
And as you do, you see that there is a train about to leave the station. That's clearer than day. It's churning out steam and smoke. And as it heads out, you see that the light is probably getting now a little bit towards the mid-afternoon space. And so the light here is starting to dim just a little bit. We'll say that it's probably March. So it's not yet fully into the summer months. So the light's going to dim a little bit earlier than it normally would. And that puts a bit of a hustle into your step. Because it's going to be a little bit of a hike to get up to the church.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know if you're preparing or taking anything specific or what approach. Perhaps there might be a special power you'd like to use, or maybe you want to create something temporarily for the fun of it.
I, being a mystical sage who crafts powerful objects, I would like to take some of my time to make a cipher. I am currently determining which one I would
Fun.
like to do. I have in my supplies, as a part of my equipment, enough materials to make one cipher. So once I determine what that is and who I'm going to give it to,
Mhm.
that is the plan.
Nice.
Oh, hey, I mean, we could, you know what? We could live on the edge here. There is a cipher table.
There
I
is.
guess if I could sit there and figure out what, we'll play with that. You know what? It's PAX. Anything can happen at PAX.
That's very true.
Let's see. 59. Midsummer bundle, whatever that is. If it's not relevant, I'll roll again. While I'm looking, others.
Okay. So while that's going on,
I will grab my sheepskin jacket and my pick, so it looks like I just came out of the mines. I'm not
Sure.
raise any suspicions.
anything else you might be carrying with you?
Probably some rope,
Mhm.
and let's see, what else have I got here? My flashlight.
I like that. I like that. Okay.
Oh, and my watch. It's like I don't know what time it is.
That's true. That's likely something all of you would notice too, is that this watch that Samson has is really intricate. It's pretty shiny. That might be a gold pocket watch. Maybe a family heirloom, perhaps?
Yeah, it was actually my uncle's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Uncle John's pocket watch.
Right.
Who sadly was felled by several snakes at this church that we're all going to. It's almost as if the plot weave is showing us a direct center of where to go.
It's almost like you could say with us being close to a railroad.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost.
It's almost. So I'll ask you if this is something I can do, because I have some supplies on me, and then I could say that I would be crafting one item and then also being able to look for other items in order to restore that, since it is like a bit of a walk, like any of the natural herbs and things. I do have an ability that allows me to do that as well.
Walk me through
it. Sure. I am trained in finding materials, as I'm also trained in crafting ciphers and artifacts. So if I'm able to craft this cipher, the cipher number 1, I would like to do, and I guess I could even like go through it. She's like ruffling through like her bags and is like mumbling to herself, like, okay, well, you want to go in there prepared. I'm not going up against snakes or anything like that. So what do you think? Maybe we could I could make something that if one does get us, it's not gonna, I'm trying not to get got, don't get me wrong. If one does try to come at us, it'll keep us from getting hit as hard. But also there is a thing. Now I'm not, don't look at me like that, cousin, because I'm not trying to be blasphemous. This is just like, I'm able to make a little bag that might throw them off, like kind of keep them from messing with us. A couple of berries, some of the different plants and stuff around here. Some of the snakes, you crush it up. Certain animals don't like that and might kind of keep them doing stuff.
Like those
I've
hex
seen Granny
bags?
do something similar to the
Yeah,
house.
it's a poke bag.
Yeah.
I read that in the compendium of demonology and magic that I carry with me in my bag.
Right, your special book, because you have your special book too. That's right.
No, the only special book is the Bible.
No, that's the good book.
Oh, yeah.
You got your good book, you got your special book, and then I've got my books. But I left all those in the saddlebags, so.
So you're going to craft a cipher.
I would like to take time to craft a cipher.
Okay.
So we could either do something that would help restore, we could either do something that will take the hit, called a crow baby. Or
You saw a crow baby crafted during family reunion?
yes, we did. So we could either craft a crow baby, so it's like the ooh, gotcha. Or they could also get ooh, that's actually a good one too. Interesting. I could do a conjure card, where we could if you single card from a deck, and this one has a rattle of a rattlesnake, where it can rattle if a dangerous creature starts approaching, or the poke bag of charm animal. And I'm indecisive because all of them sound good, and I would love all of them, but I'm not going to get all of them, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're going to get one, right? Because
I'll take one, and then I find the stuff for the next one just in case.
Sure.
Because these, I believe, ciphers take 10 minutes to craft as an action.
They do. They take they technically take a variable amount of time depending upon the level of cipher that you're going to try to craft.
So I guess can I claim the one, or do I have to roll to see what level it's going to be?
No, I mean, you can tell me how powerful a cipher you're going to try to cast.
I mean,
or try to create.
Maybe if we got a poke bag, and if we set it at like level 3, would that be enough to kind of give us enough to charm the animal at that?
So what'll happen basically in systematic in the cipher system is that you'll craft it at that level, and then you'll say, okay, here's this external force, this other animal that I want to have it go at and be charmed. And then there'll be a contested roll basically.
At that time.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, because it's like tuck the bag into your shoe while saying, I'm a friend to all animals and they to me. For the next 10 minutes, all interactions with animals are eased by 2 steps, by 3 steps if the cipher is level 6 or higher. So
yeah, probably not going to have time to craft a level 6 or higher cipher, but still, I mean,
something to just give you advantage.
Absolutely.
Within that. Okay, cool. So I think we'll go with the bag of charm animal, and if things look like they're going south, I'll get myself some twine and sticks and make something happen.
Okay. So that is going to be. What level do you want it?
I guess it could just be a level 1 within it because the interactions with animals are eased by 2 steps, only 3 steps if it's a cipher and 6 or higher.
But if
Okay.
those, I'll let you.
I could just roll it and we can see what it is.
Yeah, sure.
We'll do that.
Let's play by ear.
Ugh, that's a hefty one. That
Okay.
would then be
I
a
love
7.
that. So I love that for you for a few reasons. So
Oh, great.
you've rolled a 5,
Yep.
which is great for everybody. And that means that's the tier of the cipher you're going to try to craft.
Mhm.
And so we'll say that you, Clara, have to make a level 5 tier roll to craft this cipher. So that's 15 or higher. But you
I am
are trained in
trained.
ciphers
Yes.
and how to craft them. So that makes it a 4.
All right.
And then you can tell me how you're also going to lessen it.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the experience point I have to give somebody, would that help in this case, or was that for later on?
Absolutely could give her an experience point, and that would allow her to re-roll if she fails.
I would be glad to do that right now.
All right, so you gain an XP.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you.
And
So,
what cipher are you making?
I am making the cipher poke bag of charm animal.
Oh, nice.
That way, if anything comes to us, we have the knowledge and the ability to kind of like, hey, hold on, add it.
I'm going to go pray on my rosary while you're doing that.
Okay,
'cause
beautiful.
I'm going to pray for your soul while you're making this.
I mean, it's good to pray for family.
It is.
hmm
So you've made it from a 5 to a 4. You could,
Mm-hmm.
if you wanted to, spend points from
I can.
pool points to lessen it again.
So since I have an edge in intellect, then if I wanted to reduce it by a level, that would only cost 2.
Correct.
All right, great. Let's do that. I would like to do that to reduce that. So that brings it down to a level 3, which would then be a 9 or higher.
Yes, that's correct.
And potentially a reroll.
Potentially a
if
reroll.
And a
we need
re-roll
it.
if you need it, which is pretty nice.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I'm going to need that one.
You're going to need the re-roll here.
Okay, this is what I get for moving the book. Hold on.
Look, it's a
Why?
9, right? See, look.
That's a 9. That's a 9.
Right there, that's
Oh,
a 9.
it is it is. Okay, I can't see. That is where the dot is.
It's a 9.
Yes, it's a 9.
You're good.
I thought it was a 6. I can't read.
You dig deep, and you also dig into like the berries and the spaces around here to grab what you need. She sort of picks her way through. It doesn't seem to you, Samson, that she's doing anything specific. It just seems like she's foraging. This is stuff that like your little cousins do all the time.
Yeah.
Gran directs them, but she's just going from bush to bush and sort of humming along. You hear a little tune, and she's putting stuff together in a bag. And as she goes up, on your end of it, you can feel all of like all of nature is sort of showing and revealing itself to you. And so when you go to pick berries, you're like, nope, not that one, this one, and nope, not this tree, this branch. And you get this beautiful feeling that nature is sort of evolving and showing and blossoming in specific ways. Like only certain petals are bright enough for what you're looking for. And you also feel that there is somewhere in the land a sickness. And so nature is almost hoping that you can help it. And so you craft it on the way up.
So we're walking and she's crafting as she's going.
So the church itself is relatively new, so to speak, when it comes to Kayboro. So the Church of God with signs following is the sign that you eventually come across. We'll say that it's about supper time. So it takes a little while for you to get up there. The sun is not set by any means, but it is beginning to sort of crest over the line of trees that make up where the number 3 mine is. And you know that y'all got about half an hour or so before this place gets dark. And half an hour after that, it will be real dark. And you'll need your flashlight.
So we got about 30 minutes of light.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going to get really dark.
Wow.
I mean, like you're in a mine kind of dark.
Best we get on with it then.
I brought my flashlight, but I don't know,
Oh, I forgot my lantern
Sorry.
on the train. Oh, Cousin Clara, why aren't you reminding me of this stuff?
Well, if I were someone who had a lantern of my own, I wouldn't have forgotten it.
Oh.
But
They sell one at the
Touche.
general store.
What?
They sell good ones at the general store.
Oh, but we're not near the general store right
well,
now.
they'll probably have. I mean, worst case scenario. Now, call it blasphemy all you'd like, but if at this church, there's got to be a candle we could use just in case.
Oh,
I'm
he's
sure of it.
he's probably got lanterns.
Yeah. Well, all right. So who's going to do the talking in here?
I'm not one for talking, ma'am. I can introduce you because they know me, but
Okay.
that's, if you want to know more information, whatever you need to know, you're going to have to ask.
All right. So I suppose we could look at this one of two ways. We could look at it as you are a man of the cloth yourself, and we're trying to come in, make connections out through here, or I'm a book woman and I heard about some fascinating tomes.
We can do a little bit of both. I can
Okay.
say I came on out here because I wanted to make an introduction. We heard about the wonderful things he has been doing at this church. I know that's lying. I know.
There's a bag for that.
Yeah,
I love that. There's a bag for that.
There's a bag for that.
Hashtag there's a bag for that.
and then you can talk about how you wanted to see this wonderful tome that he has.
Yes. Making connections in through this town on my journeys and heard about it. See if there's anything he's willing to trade even.
And I just got off work and met y'all at the train station when I came down.
Yeah, and we, being new to town, it's nice to have local. All right, we've got this.
Right.
So the church itself is up on a slight bit of a hill. The trail here goes up into the mountains. You, Samson, would know this. The trail goes far beyond the church. It goes into some hunting areas and whatnot, as there used to be some fellers back there that did a little moonshining.
A little bit.
But the church is on a slight raise as you get off of the trail here. You see that there are stone steps that have been sort of cut in and then head up towards a grassy area that takes place before the church is there. The church is a humble series of, wood walls and steeple. There's nothing extravagant about it at all. It does look like it took after a little bit of the assembly church that was down closer to town. But there are none of the characteristic windows that you would see lining the side of this old church. There are just walls. And that always sort of disturbed you a little bit. Because one of the things that's important about the church is that people see when people are in it and they get fresh light. And so you wonder, it's got to be pretty stuffy in there. Now, the church doors are closed. They make a beautiful pair of closed doors in front of you. There's a sign, of course, that gives the church's name. And outside the church, there are a couple people that just seem to be, I think milling about is the wrong word for it, but I'll just say they're tending the space here. They're working with, rakes and hoes to tend the land. They're off a little bit from the church. It looks like maybe they might be working in a garden.
Just something out of the ordinary, or just something that they?
It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a church to have a garden nearby at all.
Okay.
But it is pretty close to beyond working hours. It seems a little strange that they be working this late.
Well, they're working late. I mean, it's not out of the ordinary, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Let's, you want
Do
to make
any of them have lanterns that seem like they're about to work in through the night?
No, that is the funny thing. Even the space that they're in isn't very well lit, and they're not at all using lanterns or any sort of torchlight or anything. They're just working away.
That's spooky.
Do any of them have those black marks on them like Granny was talking about?
You're not close enough to really make out whether
Okay.
or not they have black marks on them. You see their backs. They are wearing shirts that button at the wrists, so you can't really make that out.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
I mean, that train
okay.
ride just really
I
took
know,
it out of
that's
me.
traveling's
I'm telling
hard
you
on
what.
the body.
Yawns all around.
Preacher, let me ask you a question. It's always give me the EBGBs up here. Aren't churches supposed to have windows to let the light in? Light of God and all like that.
Normally, yeah, I agree with you, Samson.
Yeah,
Mr. Samson.
Mr. Sampson. Yeah. Call me Sam if you want to. Call
Mr.
me
Sam.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam.
Right. I'll answer to either.
Oh. Well,
But it's always just left me kind of strange.
Don't
There's
call him
no
late
light,
for dinner.
Natural light that gets in there.
Don't call me Shirley.
Yeah. Do you know why they when was this church built? When was this church built?
Looking around, probably within the past couple of years.
And they built it with no windows. Yeah. Normally, we have a rule about how churches should be built. Like there's a template for it. You got the doors, the steeple. You put in the people.
No, go on. I'm waiting. I watched you walk yourself into this, and I was like, yeah,
I was
go ahead.
watching.
Go ahead.
Wow.
You'll get there.
So here's the church, and here's the steeple. You open the doors, you see all the people.
Yeah.
Don't close the doors to hear
See,
him pray. Open
and
the doors, they all walk away.
Anything can happen at PAXU.
Yeah, normally they'd have some windows on either side. We have, we have a design for that. That's really particular.
That's what I figured. It just always unnerved me coming up here.
Well, yeah, you want to let the light of the Lord in. Praise be. We'll have to talk to Pastor Moon about that.
Maybe they just didn't know how to build a church right. Maybe they just didn't know to leave the space for the windows.
Maybe he's really just not a pastor. Maybe he's Satan incarnate, and we will have to bless this holy place. It's not a holy place.
So when
It can be.
when you say bless this holy place, the doors to the church open up,
See, it won't sit.
and
It's asking for it.
you see a man walk out.
Oh.
He's dressed in working clothes, denim, likely from Tipton Denim, and he's got work boots on. And you know who this guy is. This is Randy Hansen. Hansen is a man who, at one point, was a mine foreman, but left working for the mine company when he found a new job, and that was head foreman here for the church.
That's Randy Hansen. He was my former boss, the foreman over at the mine, making good money, and then he left to come here.
Are we saying this in front of him?
No, you.
Okay.
Y'all are a good 30 yards away from him. And this is Randy Hansen.
This is my former boss.
Come up right alongside him. Hey, this is my former boss.
I've got to
Right
stop
here.
derailing us. That's just the intrusive thoughts are coming
I
in.
love it.
He's like, and this. It's like,
Yes.
And this.
Randy, why'd you leave?
Get your Vanna White on.
and this is a church with no windows. My specialty.
Why does the church need a foreman?
To handle all the grounds work, I guess. I don't know.
What's the state of the area? I mean, is it kept well? I
It's
guess.
reasonably kept well,
Okay.
yeah. You'd say that the plot of land here probably, say 100 or so yards in every direction from the center of the church is pretty well tended. Yeah, I mean, there are forested areas and that are back beyond that, but they've cleared out quite a bit. And it looks like there might be a couple of structures behind the church. Maybe those are houses.
Well, they have been moving some stuff up here from the train tracks every now and then. But I noticed. But I don't. Like I said, I don't get up here much.
It's not unusual to have additional structures on church land. Like I don't know, like the house for the preacher / pastor to stay in, or like a greenhouse type structure for gardening and whatnot.
Wouldn't be uncommon for a pastor to have a house near the church.
Right.
I mean, that would be pretty well common.
Yep.
Parsonage. I think it's the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
very
Well,
good.
then I suppose we should greet him.
I can introduce you.
That would be lovely.
We got
Thank
no
you.
ill will between each other. We work well together, so
Oh, good.
That you know of.
that I know of.
I know that now. It's
Storyteller.
fantastic.
Let's
No,
see how
it's
he's gonna
done.
come in.
Oh.
It's how canon works. That's, you just write it into law. So you move up towards the church, and you can see that Randy is standing there. He is seeing you approach. He knows who you are for sure at a distance. And he comes down from the steps. He sort of wipes his hands on a rag and tucks it in his back pocket, and walks on down the dirt path to the three of you. He's a man in his probably mid 40s, got a big broom mustache. It's got slightly brown graying hair. It's been kissed by the sun, like on top. And so it's not dark brown. It's sort of this lighter chestnut. And probably 10, 15 years ago, before he did a lot of heavy mine work, Randy was probably a good looking guy. But years of toiling in the number 3 did some damage to him, as it does to everybody that works in the mine long term. And so when he walks over to you, he seems to have like a slight limp, maybe. You're not sure. Samson,
Randy,
what you doing up here?
it's been a spell, hasn't it?
Yeah. He reaches out his hand.
I'll shake it.
When you shake his hand, you see stripes of black that run all the way up his forearm. He shakes your hand. Strongest grip that you can remember. Reminds you of you.
These two just got off the train. They were wanting to talk to the pastor, and I just brought them up here. I was just getting off work, so.
Clara Carr, and this is my cousin, Pastor or Preacher Elijah Carr.
Preacher? Ma'am?
Mr. Hanson. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, we're about to finish up our workday here pretty shortly. I got to go check on those folks, but you want to take a look inside? You want to walk around?
Yeah.
Feel free.
Is Pastor around?
Oh, yeah. He's never far.
Oh, Mr. Sampson, Mr. Sampson, you're Sampson. Hey,
Hi,
Sampson.
Mr. Sampson.
Hey,
How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Hanson? Can you, before I go speak to Pastor Moon, can you give me, in your own words, what goes on during these sermons that Pastor Moon has with the snakes?
He looks a little quizzical at you. What goes on? Folks worshiping the Lord?
Do you touch the snakes? Do you hold them?
Oh, okay. I got you. You're here for a little investigation, huh?
Oh, no. I heard about the wonders that this is doing, and the church asked me to come visit.
And I'm a bookwoman by trade,
Oh,
so the stories that we're hearing is just fascinating to me as well.
Well, it's pretty fascinating to be in the presence of it. I'll tell you that. What I always tell folks is you're going to have to see it for yourself.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
He grins. People get real weird about snakes, and I used to not like them at all. I mean, when we worked in the mines, we dealt with them all the time. They'd go up a feller's leg or in their boots or whatever. But Pastor Moon's just got a way about him, and he knows how to hold them, knows how to control them. And that power comes right from God.
Does it? Yeah. I've my cousin being a preacher, just, coming in contact with the scriptures in and of itself.
Sure.
Is that written in there somewhere?
Oh, certainly.
Oh?
Absolutely. I mean, man has dominion over all of God's creatures, right?
Oh, that is true. That is
That's in
written
there.
in
That's
All
Scripture.
right, well, then as far as Pastor Moon is concerned, that dominion means both mentally and physically. And so he has a connection with God, and it gives him dominion over these snakes.
Someone's got to tell that to our mule, Caesar, that we have dominion over him.
Yeah, that's not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
sometimes that mule they just don't listen. But
No.
Where's that dominion then?
well, maybe you need the right preacher. He sort of straightens his shirt.
Well, la-ti-da.
I'm going to check on the folks gardening over there, but Moon's on in there. You want to head on in and talk to him?
All right. Thank you, Randy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
He walks on.
Clara just kind of leans into both of them. That was weird, wasn't it? That was unusual.
He wasn't always like that.
He was
I mean, he's always a kind of a man of God. He always
Yeah.
believed, but then
But y'all saw the marks, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Saw the
that
marks.
wasn't there before. I'll
I
tell you
wasn't
that
there
much.
before.
That's like your granny said. That's what happens after they come in contact with the snake venom. Right?
So it means he's been
Is that what
bit.
you said? Is that what Granny said?
It is what Granny said.
Okay,
Yes.
just making sure.
I mean, we don't like snakes up there, but he was really scared of them. I
Mm.
mean, he'd make us go get them if he even heard that there was one nearby.
Seems like a really intense way to change your opinion.
That's yeah.
I think as well we should all be very cautious ourselves going into here. Because not to say anything on the just mental capacities, nothing like that. But there's something in there with it, whether it's something maybe you breathe it in or like just being around it. I mean, something mixed into a drink. Don't accept food, drink, nothing. You can see that she's kind of getting into her. She has read a lot of books and is just kind of going through, hey, so when you're coming up on weird stuff, here's some things not to do. And you can see she's kind of like riling up a little bit within that.
Are you sure you're not related to my granny? Because she talks like that a little bit.
Well, most grannies have a lot of good information.
She does.
Did Granny say how they were using the venom? Like, were they having the snake bite them, or were they drinking venom? Were they
She didn't say exactly.
licking the snakes? How do you?
Yeah, it's that good old snake licking.
We're licking the snake.
You snake licker. I can see it now. So heading on into the church, you see a lot of common touch points for really any church. You see a wide room that goes all the way towards an altar. You see the cross behind the altar, very seemingly commonly fixtures. You see pews. There's a single aisle here, and there are spaces along the right and the left-hand side of the building where you could tuck into pews if you were coming to church late. It isn't a very deep church. It's probably, I'll say, 15 pews aside. So spaced out, not terribly far to get to it. At the end of the room, there is, as I said, an altar. There's also a lectern where someone could speak from. And there is a drape of cloth that's there, which has the cross on it. And I want the group to make a perception-based roll to pick up on something else. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to also use my ability, See the Unseen.
Oh, talk us through that ability.
So, See the Unseen. You automatically perceive creatures and objects that are normally invisible, insubstantial, or hidden via magic. When looking for things more conventionally hidden, the task is ease.
Ooh, okay. So I'll give you a little something, and then you can still make the perception roll.
Okay.
So what you see through that ability is you see what look like roots, big, thick tree roots that run under the church and sort of go towards the altar. They look like big, thick branches, big tree roots, although there's no tree here. And obviously the church behind it doesn't have some massive tree or whatnot. And then those roots move.
Nope. I'm out.
Nope. Yep.
They slide ever so cautiously up and down, back and forth, just very lightly. But that's what your See the Unseen power reveals. I'll still let you make the perception roll, obviously, with it eased.
Okay.
So that would normally be a difficulty 4 challenge, so it's 12 or better. For you, it's 3. It's a 3, so it's a 9 or better.
Anybody else got fun stuff that can help us see stuff?
If you could remind me what danger sense does.
Oh,
Yeah, I have danger sense too.
well, Morgan can.
No, I can't because I don't remember. Hang on.
I was slacking and did not write down the actual.
And I didn't write the page number down, so here I am.
I'm struggling without my multiple screens here. It's like split
Yeah.
up
Same
in like all sorts of things.
I'm staring at the mixer. That's what I'm staring at.
Of course, it's not listed in the book.
Danger sense.
it a skill?
I can see if I can search it real
It should
Oh,
quick.
yeah, that'd be great.
protector.
It should be under
Yeah.
protector.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That'll be at the front of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Protector. That is your type.
That is my type.
All right. I have danger sense. Your initiative task is eased. You pay the cost each time the ability is used.
Oh, so it's for
Enable
initiative.
her.
So it's for
It's for initiative.
So it would
if you're
not apply
getting-
in this case.
If you're getting jumped, then you'll be
Okay.
you're a lot harder to get.
All right.
I have religion as a skill training task. Can I use that?
I do not think religion would apply.
Okay. So
I'm
we're
trying-
difficulty 4. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's 12 or better on the die.
12 or
except
better.
for Clara, who's 9 or better.
I have a 15.
Definitely doing
Oh, nice.
godly work over here.
I have a 19.
Very good. We got a what?
15.
Okay, and
Oh, I didn't actually do that. Hold on.
please roll.
12.
So we all see it.
All right.
Fantastic.
So we all see it.
We all
We
see it
all
moving.
see it.
What do we see,
That's-
Mike?
Oh,
that can't be good.
no.
What do we see?
They're not going to let the guy who's played horror games for 4 years run this game, are they? So yeah, what you see along the main aisle is along every pew there is a hole
Oh,
Mm.
in the floor. It's about the size of a $50 or so, and they're at first they appear ornamental,
Mhm.
or they appear as if they are for some sort of decorative function. Clara knows that that is likely not the case. For the two of you, Samson and the preacher,
Don't call me pastor.
you're
Preacher.
fairly certain that those are decorative. Well, or there are holes in the floor. You don't know why there are holes in the floor.
But we see the things moving underneath the pews, right?
You do not. You do not.
do
She
not.
Oh,
does.
she does. Okay.
She can see the unseen.
We don't have that voodoo.
Neither do I.
oh yeah.
And
So we
other than
proceed-
that, the room for the moment is empty.
for the moment.
Just looking around. Yeah.
Where's
Doesn't look
the
anything out of the ordinary.
Where's the tree at? There's the
There's
trees.
no, yeah. So Clara would have sat there and been like,
You
had a
don't see the
moment.
roots yet.
Was
Oh,
there?
I thought I did see
Oh,
the
only
roots.
No,
I
she
just
did.
didn't see it moving.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
I
Scratch
see it.
that.
So she,
We'll cut
Clara
that.
is in there and has a moment where she is, whoa. And she's looking around. You see, just as she's looking about, is very much like, was there a tree here before they built this?
Was there a tree here?
Not that you're aware of.
No, ma'am.
There's something like roots beneath here. And it's moving. And you can see that she's kind of like watching it. Again, the idea of snakes on the mind. She's kind of looking down at the floor, looking, kind of seeing how that's going. And then she's noting, and these holes here, y'all see these at least, right?
Yeah, they just don't you put like one of them church lamps in it?
You could put a church lamp in it, or if I were to, God.
You should
Oh.
stick your hand in there, cousin Clara.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing is this is like I want to do it. Or me as the player doesn't want this, but Clara's just gonna. Clara wants to look at the whole.
Do you now?
Gonna put your face in there.
So I'm going to ask the next leading question, which of course is, how close do you get?
You know you want to put your face
I
right
know
up.
I do, but then I'm gonna get bit.
Yeah.
You don't know you're going to get bit.
I think that
Oh.
Clara, like being cautious enough about the snakes, is gonna look at that and oh gosh, is there anything that does look like a stick or something like a post kind of thing, like anything around?
I'm telling you what, if there's one thing this church is, it appears clean. There are no sticks here. There are no branches. Nothing like that.
Yeah, but a lot of the church, if it's still, is there electricity in the church, or is it
No.
all candlelight?
Lord's no.
So a lot of those churches will have then and even today will have these sticks to help light things,
Yeah.
like light the
Yeah.
candles or
That's
for
lanterns.
acolytes,
Kind
So
of
so
it's certainly
acolytes.
possible. Maybe perhaps up behind the altar they'd have them.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll go
behind the. You go look behind
I'll
the
go-
altar. I'm gonna kind of
at
eyeball
my church,
this
that's
here.
what they have. So
yeah,
I'll go look
there
behind
you
the
go.
altar
You go
for
look
that.
behind the altar.
Okay, so you walk forward. As you do, you continue to walk forward towards the main altar area. Samson, Are you hanging out here back
I'm gonna
by Clara, or
instinctively he'll situate himself between the two. So if something happens, he can get to either one of them, just out of a natural instinct.
how very egalitarian of you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's very
so
nice of
great.
you.
Yeah.
You get close to the altar, and when you do, Preacher Elijah, you see that there are a row of holes that are splayed horizontally in front of you, like a line that separates the main floor from the altar. And there's probably about 6 or 8 of them. No, wait, sorry. There's 8 of them.
It's not normal for the church. Normally, we wouldn't have that many holes to put the lanterns in.
It does seem a little strange.
It does.
I would like to investigate something.
Okay, what would you like to investigate?
I'm gonna get you
Would
something to
you
investigate.
say,
Hmm.
and just this is a clarifying question.
Understood.
Just so casually. Would you say that these holes are roughly snake-sized?
I mean, one could probably put a snake through one of these, yes. Again, they're about $half size, so that would depend on the size of the snake.
Oh, so they're like that.
Yeah, they're like
Um,
that big.
Yeah, they're big enough.
That's
Okay.
a pretty big copperhead.
Yeah.
I thought they were more like this, like anaconda size. Those
No,
would
no,
be
no.
like,
Yeah,
oh my
no,
god.
they're
$half size
Okay.
is a pretty
I couldn't
reasonable
tell you the
size
last
snake.
time I saw a $half. But Clara's having these thoughts as well, just like, is that snake sized? And she's gonna stand kind of to the side of one of them and is kind of like look down, like to see how deep is it? Oh, actually,
Yes,
could I reach in my bag and like drop a berry down in it?
sure.
Yeah.
You reach in your bag and you drop a berry down it.
Does it make a sound? Like, can I hear it hit down? Is it shallow? Is it deep?
You hear it plinks not far long after you drop it. Probably a couple of seconds.
Do I hear any other sounds?
Sounds? No. But you're close enough now that you can probably smell the earth under here. There's a definite like earthy smell, which makes sense because it's a church
Yeah.
made out of wood.
Yeah.
But there's also some sort of like, there's a dampness under there. There's almost like a humidity.
Ugh. I don't like it.
You okay? You
Yeah,
good?
I'm
Okay.
fine.
I'm
I'm
just
just
making
like,
sure.
oh God, it's the anticipation.
Yes.
I wonder what likes earthy, damp places.
That's a
under
good question.
Churches.
I'm sure we'll get a chance to answer it shortly.
Oh.
You get to the front, and when you get to the front, there you see that at the back of the church there are there's doors on either side, to the right and to the left, and these are probably like the pastor's office or something like that, or maybe it's where they keep one of these spaces. And to the left, as you walk up, that door opens abruptly.
Yeah.
And you see a probably middle-aged man. He's probably late 30s. He's got dark, slicked hair. He's wearing a black, like pastoral suit.
It's got the collar on.
He has the collar on, yes. And he looks at you and offers you a smile and says, can I help you?
Oh, Pastor Moon, what an honor it is to meet you. I am Preacher Elijah Carr. I'm from the north. My cousin and I just came down here to come see you. We heard about all the wondrous things you were doing, and the church asked me to come down and just, take a look, see if we can implement anything at the other churches in the area.
He steps out a little further, and you see him lock eyes with Samson. Like he looks at you, and he changes like his overall bodily disposition, and he sort of straightens up a little bit, and he says, Samson, I wasn't aware you were around today. That's strange to see you visit our church.
I met these two at the train station. They were asking about you, so I figured I'd bring them up here.
You see him look towards Clara. Is everything all right, ma'am? Did you lose something?
Oh, no. I was just, I thought that I dropped something. Turns out I didn't. Sorry. Clara Carr.
Nice to meet you, Miss Carr. How are you?
I am doing just fine.
Carr, I wonder if you know Ginny Carr. He sort of adjusts his. You absolutely do. And so you would never call her Ginny because your granny's name is something that you hold in reverence. You'd never speak her first name. But he's not family, so.
That's my granny.
And so how is Tipton treating her?
It's doing well. We had got family will come and go through every now and then, and it's nice in Tipton. I don't get to spend as much time there as I used to.
Well,
how do you happen to know her?
Oh, we met in Tennessee once. He sort of nods for a minute. I do not forget a face, nor a name. He comes down off of the sort of raised dais that the altar's on. And when he's standing next to you, he's a little taller than you, but he's by no means is he a physically dominant man, like figure. He's average height, average build. Well, as far as what the church and I do here, it's pretty simple. This place has been, for many years, plagued by problems. Samson will know them well. They really came through ever since they got into that new space in the number 3 mine. And as we continued to dig deeper and deeper into the good Lord's earth to gather its bounty for the people of Kayboro, people started coming up sick, started having problems. And I prayed desperately that our congregation at the assemblies would listen to me. And I prayed to God Almighty for them to help. And they would not listen. And so to clear this poison out of the people in the land, God showed me a path. He showed me a different way. And I've taken that way. And through the simple use of the copperhead and by the power of God, we draw out that sickness in these people and we give them a better life. Now, there is no blessing that does not come without a cost. We agree?
I agree with that.
Well, then. So I'm certain that you probably have heard or noticed people who might have marks upon themselves. And these marks are a byproduct of the sins that they collect and some of the sins that they do. Kayboro is an awful rowdy town. People like to fight. People have their hackles up all the time. And so I draw that out with the assistance of the Almighty, of course. Which he says as a clear afterthought.
So the black marks are from sin, and they come here to get cleansed? Or they get them after they've been cleansed?
They get them after they're cleansed.
And the more black they have, the greater the sins they've committed?
That's right.
Interesting. And then the whole town knows your secrets, son. Not your secrets. But I really do say that. I really do say that, like, no.
I love it. Say it.
They thought that was great. Interesting. But what's giving the people those black marks? Not everybody works in the mine.
The Lord just isn't going to wipe away their sins without some sort of cost to them. We take that, and they bear a mark for some time. And then slowly but surely, we're certain that the good Lord will take it away.
Has that happened to anybody yet?
You see him like roll up his sleeves, and his arms are bare and pale, just like yours are. Lord's taken mine away. I bore many marks before I came to work with the Lord.
As we all do. As we all do, Brother Pastor.
I love that your thing is to like give people more titles, like along the way.
Brother Pastor.
Brother Pastor.
But that is the mystery. If you'd like to see it for yourself, we have a gathering tonight. Tell me,
Wednesday.
do you all have any sins you need to confess to the Lord?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
No, not one?
I-
Not an errant stray thought? Not anger? Not jealousy? Not contempt for your fellow person?
What about you, Brother Samson?
I listen to my granny.
Mm-hmm. Here, here.
So when he mentions his granny, see Pastor Moon sort of wrinkle his nose a little bit. Yeah, I know your granny blames me for your Uncle John.
She does.
It ain't the way that happened. He came over here of his own volition. He asked God to cleanse him. And just as I tell anyone who comes to our sermons, there is always the power of the Almighty. It can overtake people.
He was a strong man, strong with God. I don't understand exactly what happened, but something did. It was not right.
Well, you understand that your Uncle John had some sin in his life,
Yeah.
and he asked us to cast it out and into these snakes. And he began speaking in tongues. And he began reveling under the thoughts and in the emotions of all of those sins.
And now, where in the great book is that written? This particular process?
If you speak of science, as far as process goes, that's not the way the Lord works.
No. I'm not meaning that. I mean, and if you're using these from the Lord's words as it's going, is that written somewhere in the holy text that I've yet to see?
You're only on Genesis.
You don't need to know that. I've been skipping to the good parts. There's clearly a chapter that I didn't see, and that's what I'm asking about.
Now, we will all agree, if we've read the New Testament, that the New Testament was collected and delivered by Jesus' apostles. It is not the written word directly of the Lord Almighty. It is the inspired word of prophets who listen to God and write those down. And as it would happen, I too have a story to tell.
Yeah.
Are you one of Jesus' apostles?
I believe the Lord has blessed me with a vision.
No. We heard you were using a special book to help cure these people of their sins.
Oh, yes.
Are we able to see that book? I would be
Being
really
a bookwoman,
interested.
yeah. Being a bookwoman myself, I would love to see.
Well, I think the best way to experience it would be to experience what happens when it happens.
I mean, I'm a reader. I'm really much more into reading than doing. It's always going to be like that for me. So I would just love to see the book.
Well, I can't just let anyone look at it.
I'm not just anyone.
No, of course not.
Can I use persuasion to try to
Yeah.
get him to?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, yeah. As a man of the Lord, I think it would and us a part of the same type of what the fuck are they called? Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean,
the
if
same
you're-
list of congregations. We're brothers. We're all brothers and sisters here.
We are.
We are, and you gotta stop laughing.
I'm sorry. It's just
Sister cousin Clara, you need to calm down over there.
it just keeps coming around.
It does.
It just keeps making its way around.
But I really think the leads I don't know what they have in Baptist church. I'm sorry, people. The leaders of our church would be really interested in seeing what you have, and I just think that it would be really beneficial if I could just take a gander at that.
And then if it does get documented, then my ways as a bookwoman can help spread it around. If you are, in fact, a new...
Well, I think the idea is to spread the word ourselves.
I'm not a preacher.
Oh, I don't mean that way. I mean spread the written word through a printing press.
You have a printing press?
No, ma'am, not here. But there is one that is willing, I believe, to print what I have. But I suppose, in the interest of time and the interest of you all who've gone so far as to come up here, I'll give you a little preview. He steps back up onto the altar. You hear the doors behind you open. And you see Randy and about 15 members of the congregation walk in. Now, don't y'all go anywhere. These pews are comfortable, I promise you. He grips the lectern.
I just want to see the book. I don't want to experience this first.
I know. We'll go sit over in the back. We're new, right by the door, way
So they come up
back
the main
here.
Where you're the closest to them.
No.
And you feel them behind you now. You see this, Samson.
I would like to position myself now between them and Miss Clara.
Okay, so you're going to have to move back, which is fine. You move back by Clara, and you see Randy and several members of the congregation behind him. I mean, they swell and mass around him like a crowd. And Randy says, take a seat. It'll be easier for you to learn.
I prefer standing.
Suit yourself. At the head of the church, Pastor Moon reaches into the lectern and pulls out a book.
Oh, boy.
And he opens it. And when he does, he casts his hand up as if to call to the heavens. And he says, Almighty, bring to me those who I have dominion over in your name. And you feel like the church pews begin to shake all around you. The whole floor begins to vibrate. And up through these holes, copperhead snakes begin pouring out onto the pews. And then it gets worse. Because of course it does. They begin pouring over the people, the congregation members who are here. They're running up their legs and arms. And you two will have to make a defense roll because they're going to try to climb onto you. So this is difficulty 3. It's 9 or better as they come out of this. I'll clarify this. They are not attacking you. They are trying to climb on you. So there's no hissing going on. There's no open mouths. They're just trying to use you as a highway of sorts.
Blech. I guess. What? So is it rolling against?
You're making basically a defense roll. So it's 9 or better. If you have, if you're going to spend pool for whatever reason, this would be a speed pool. It's more of a reflexive, fast movement sort of test.
Gotcha.
Unless you want to be climbed down, and then by all means.
I do not.
I don't either. Okay.
Preacher Elijah, you're not required to make this roll because you're too far up at the front.
19.
Very good.
Okay, what's the target? I'm sorry.
It is 9 or better on the
9
D20.
or better. That is a 4.
Okay.
Ugh.
You leap back, Clara, because snakes come out from the left and the right hand
Those are
side of the
snakes.
aisle, and they don't like flop or move slow, like they're moving to get out, and you back up towards the middle of the church because the other way is blocked. You get 3 or 4 snakes on you. They coil around both of your legs, and one of them is on your arm. Again, they're not being aggressive at this point, and they're not constricting by any means. That's not really what copperheads do. But they are using you as a platform. And you can see behind you that the congregation members behind Randy have several of these things crawling on them. And the congregation members are starting to sort of cavort and move almost as if they don't have complete control over their mental faculties anymore.
Okay. Look over at Pastor Moon. Pastor Moon, this is unnatural. This is not what the Lord intended.
He's not making eye contact with you. He's staying very focused on what he's doing. And he continues to utilize that sort of rhetoric of calling out to these snakes, these creatures which God has given him dominion over. And he begins to say things like, purge this place of the sin which those newcomers have brought into our house.
Well,
And that is when the snakes, who have, as of so far, been not aggressive, begin to get aggressive.
Well, nope.
So he is doing what's called snake handling.
How would you say he's holding this book? Like, is he holding it? Is it in front of him on the lectern?
Yeah, I would say it's in his hand. That seems a very sort of
in
like
his hand, just like
it's
he's kind of
open,
holding it there
it's open. He probably has
loosely.
like
It's like
this-
flopped out, open in
yeah.
it. Okay.
It's not a very thick book. It's certainly not the Bible.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna try something.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to use draw item.
Oh, okay. What's that do?
So I'm gonna spend 2 intellect points, and then a loose object within short range of you that you could carry in one hand is drawn to your free hand. If the object is stuck or held by another creature, you must succeed a might roll to rip it free, or if the object remains if the object remains where it is. So that's an action, and like I said, that's why I was asking how's it being held.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So it's being held. It would be a might challenge to pull it from him.
He's not
It's part of
gripping
his.
it. He's just holding. It's
Yeah,
great.
he's got his hand and then maybe his thumb on the book too. So
No.
he's got a hold of it enough.
All right.
Doesn't mean you can't do it. Just means it's a test.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna be that. I'm gonna spend my 2 intellect.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to do that, and that's with my might pool. So what am I?
It is. So you're going to be rolling against a target number, a challenge rating of 4. So that is
Okay.
a 12 or better because it's versus his snake handling.
Yes.
Because that's what he's using it for. So you need to roll 12 or better, or you need to tell me how you're going to move the target number further down.
I'm going to. I am trained in using magic.
Okay, I
so
like that.
having that trained ability with it.
Sure. We can lower that to 3, so it's 9 or better now.
Okay. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I know.
I don't know why it keeps.
It's hitting me. It's happening to me too. That's a 9.
Yay! So you reach out and you call the book over to you because clearly that's a problem. This is not great for you, of course.
It's gonna hit me in the head.
Because no, I'm not going to hit you in the head.
Gotta dodge.
Actually, I do love that as a GM intrusion, so let's do that.
No!
So I'll intrude on this and say
But
you do
then
get the book.
You get an XP.
So you're going to
from
get an
it.
XP, and you can
Yeah.
give the other one to someone else.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta do that now.
Yep, you bet.
We'll give it to Skip. Samson can have the XP.
Mm-hmm.
Much obliged.
You might
Fabulous.
need that, Snake Boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the book comes out of Pastor Moon's hands, and when it does, the end of that book, sort of that top tip of the binding, hits you right in the head, Preacher Elijah, and you rock back a little bit. It continues its course to you, Clara, and you collect it shortly thereafter. But for a minute, you see stars, and I am going to deal you 2 points of might pool damage. So you get a bump on the noggin, and boy, you got a headache now.
You said how many points of might damage?
2 points of might damage. You know, probably good for your headache. Maybe a little moonshine.
Is there any sitting around here? We can
No,
go
not
have some.
yet. No, not yet.
I'd like to, if I'm able. Is
Yeah.
it an action?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll just go around the table.
And you took the book, right?
I have the book
Yeah.
in my hand.
Okay. Can I become a beast?
I don't see why not. It's part of you your character's abilities.
Because it comes out in stressful situations, and this is a stressful situation.
Really? Surrounded by copperhead snakes?
I know.
Got
In a
whacked
church?
in the head.
Really like the poster.
Yeah.
And I apologize.
What was the?
It's 85.
I got it.
Oh my! Just making a
Right
mess
over
of
here.
things. Oh my god. Here we go. All right. So connection. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I need the. There is a.
Can you become a snake?
Could do a horse and they'll stomp on the
Oh
copperheads.
my gosh, can we become a horse?
But I don't think that's a big one, and I do not have become the beast. I don't have I'm not a big animal.
Okay.
Because I'm
So
only
you're a tiny little cute animal?
I'm a tiny. Well, I could become a small bear or I think a bear would be fun.
Bear would be fun.
A bear would be fun.
I can become a constrictor snake, but I don't know what that's gonna. Wish I could become a moose. That'd be fun. Here we go. For the love of goodness, I am gonna become a boar. It's pretty small.
Okay. You're going to become a boar.
And then I think it's three intellect points to do that.
Okay.
That's for minor abilities. Because I have my skill training is then might defense, but I have sent to. Oh my goodness, I'm just trying to think. Because I think it'd be fun.
Yeah. I agree.
What is might defense?
That's
You
a
said
great
might
question.
defense because I'm also trained in that.
It just means that if you're making a defense roll, a might-based defense roll, that you're trained in it, so it's one step easier for you.
It still wouldn't have made a difference in that roll. No.
Yeah, you rolled a 4, so
Yeah.
not a ton of difference there.
Okay.
Eh.
In the interest
know-
of time,
Sorry. I thought we were waiting for Mary to get back.
well, I mean, you're going to get your action.
That's true. That's true. Instead of doing that, I'm assuming there's lanterns and stuff lit in here.
No, not yet. It's not yet really
Oh.
dark enough for that.
All right, then I'll use my 3 intellect points and I'll become a boar.
Okay. So I'd love for you to explain this to Skip and the rest of us. You're going to just become a boar.
Yep, I have become stressed out and I am, well, because snakes, lots of venomous snakes.
Right.
And so, so I start to shift into a medium-sized boar. Matches, the color of the boar matches my hair color, which is a dark brown. And the eye color is still mine, which I think is brown as well. So, and I don't talk. I snarl when I do that. And so what I am going to do after that is run towards, unless that's just my action and I can't take anything else.
I think the change is your action.
Okay, then never mind.
But you go through a change.
I do.
So this is rather dramatic.
I would think so, yeah.
And my clothes and my equipment all change with me. So I'm still none of my clothes come off. I'm not naked.
Well, no, you're a boar.
I'm a boar.
You are actually.
I am actually naked.
You're
boar.
actually naked, but you're just a boar. So yes, Preacher Elijah becomes an animal right in front of your eyes. There's no sanity checks here in this game, so you're okay.
Sure, I'm okay. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
I'm great.
Sure.
I'm great.
Yeah, you're great. You're fine.
I guess that brings it to my action.
It sure does.
Okay, so I have what? You said 3 snakes on me?
There are 3 snakes on you.
Okay. And they look like they're about to strike. Am I on?
They do. They absolutely do.
Okay. I'm going to try to go after the one basically on my arm first,
Okay.
if that would be acceptable.
Yep. So to get rid of the snake on your arm, and really any snake single snake would be difficulty 2.
Okay.
And so what I'll do is, if you want to try to spend your action shedding these snakes,
Yes.
you can. So to shed all 3 of them it'd be a difficulty 4 test.
Difficulty
That's 12 or
4.
best.
Okay.
And so what I'll say is, as a sort of tiered way of success is, if you get a 9 or better, but not a 12, you'll get 2 of them gone. You'll still have 1 of them on you.
Would can I use my might edge on this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So you can use edge, and you can spend might pool points to drop the difficulty.
Okay.
Right. The main difficulty of 4 to 3. So then it would be difficulty 1, 2, or 3 to get them all off. So basically, roll above a 9, spend 2 might points, roll above a 9, and get all 3 of them off.
I would like to do that at this case.
I think you should.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay, and I am going to roll. And I roll a 10.
Fabulous.
Nice.
Look how that worked out.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you were away, Preacher Cousin Elijah became Preacher Cousin Boar Elijah.
Oh,
So this is
the whole hog.
I'd like this to be like the first time Clara sees you change. And so right there, right up near the front of the altar, Elijah shifts down under the ground and everything melds down. And there's now a boar in the room. And it's your first clear sign that your cousin's got the juice. The family juice. And then Samson begins stomping his feet and throwing his arms around. You start seeing snakes whip off of his body. And it looks like we got a good old-fashioned hoedown now.
Oh boy.
So strike the music up, because we're going to have a little bit of, we'll just say, fisticuffs.
Will we?
With an impassioned look in his eye, one might say fervent and perhaps a little bit maniacal, Randy approaches you and says, "Boy, you should have done what you were told. And I'm going to have you make a defense roll."
Okay.
This would be a might defense roll,
Okay.
because Randy's going to take a swing on you.
Okay. So that will lower my difficulty by 1. Am I correct?
So normally it would be a 3, and now it's a 2.
Now it's a 2. Okay. That is a 2, but I do have some experience points I would like to cash in.
You could spend 1 to re-roll.
I'm going to do that right now.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. And it's another 2.
Oh, wow.
so- Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to take 3 points
Okay.
of might pool damage.
Okay.
So just so everybody at the table understands how that works, is the pools are sort of what we have for our abilities. And when you take damage to a pool, you can eventually be taken down by way of that. But go ahead.
Okay. I do have armor. I have an armor rating of 3. Does that absorb that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
So you get punched, and that sheepskin jacket that you have absorbs the better part of Randy's fist.
Okay.
You definitely feel it, but it doesn't slow you down.
Okay. So I'll go back up to where I was. Okay.
So
Thank you, Sheep.
Pastor Moon is going to... He's going to look real annoyed for a second because somebody stole his book. He looks at you across the church, Clara, and he says, "My dear, if you think I need that book, you're wrong." And he reaches out towards you, and you see his fingers sort of curl and twist. And the pews around you spring up with immediate snakes in your area. And so you're going to make, I'll give you either might or speed. You're going to make a defense roll. I think this is a speed defense because you're going to try to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And we'll say that it's difficulty 3.
I'm going to.
Hey,
Yeah.
Don't you have your cipher?
I do have my little cipher.
You do?
Yeah. So that's going to lessen that challenge by 2, I believe, with the level, or 3 with the level of that cipher.
It's level
Because that was a
5.
level 5. Oh, so it would have been 2.
2, yeah.
All right. So that'll bring that down. What would be that challenge?
It's 1.
It's now 1.
Yep. So you need 3 or better on the die.
You better keep your 2s over there, buddy. I'm telling you right now. 13.
Fabulous. When they spring out, they almost appear like they're spring loaded when they come in. They come out like arrows,
Yeah.
fangs out, ready to snap and bite on you. And you duck and sort of roll behind a pew because it gives you cover.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Moon's not playing around anymore.
Yeah.
And that's his
that-
action. And so the congregation at large will sort of begin filling in the back end. And so they're walking along and moving along the back end of the church to fill in the other aisles. So that way there's really nowhere for you to go to get out.
No windows.
And it's at this point you begin to see a lot of their faces have these long black rivulets of that same sort of discolored. And the snakes are not only just biting them, but like moving along on their skin. They're not reacting to being bit.
Snake zombies.
So I love this. It's so much fun. So you went and you went and you went and the pastor went.
So is it back to the top?
I think it's back to the top. Yeah.
Randy went.
Yeah, Randy went too.
Yep.
So let's talk about initiative. It's in the book.
Zibook?
The book.
Oh, it's back here.
Look us up initiative because it'll say how to roll it. We'll have like we'll see if we can contain this to a round. We'll see. So there's the theory in gaming, right? That no combat should last more than 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're sort of just
We're just punching it forever.
It's a slog.
Yeah.
nobody likes that. And so
Speed roll.
it's a speed roll. Fabulous. So I will say that the top movement in this space to beat them, you'll need. I'll say it's a speed roll. So is it straight? Is just direct speed?
Yeah, so whoever, each player makes a speed roll called
Yep.
an initiative roll.
Yep.
Most of the time, it's only important to know blah, blah, blah. So it's whoever gets the higher the roll. The higher
Fabulous.
the roll goes first.
Does
Roll it.
danger sense apply to this?
No, you're already in danger,
That
my
is an
friend.
initiative.
It is initiative.
No, but he gets some advantage on.
Yeah, he does.
danger
It's
sense.
eased.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah. Are we not competing against something for?
Yeah.
yeah,
it says-
you'd be competing against the highest tier character in the room, which is Pastor Moon.
Yeah, so his target number, we have to.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to get over his. It's basically a challenge rating 3. So for anybody with danger sense, it's 2.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And I do have danger sense.
Danger sense.
Okay.
Wow.
19.
12.
8.
Okay, so you definitely go first. You are going to go second, and then you are going to probably go after Moon and Randy.
Okay.
But that's okay.
All right.
I want to know. You still have your pickaxe with you too.
Oh, I'm going to use it here momentarily.
Oh, boy.
Carrying it
All
with
right,
you after
Clara.
the church.
All right.
What you got?
So I am trained in understanding magic.
Uh-huh.
My goal within this is I want to understand this book, and I want to take control of the snakes and make them stop.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
It's
Good
a
call.
it's a big ask.
Yep.
But I figured trying to just with the abilities and everything that I have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how's the ability work?
So for me, that one is it is a trained action, but I also have, as mystical, I have mystic sense, which is you can sense whether there's something mystical or magical going on
Yeah.
in situations where its presence is not obvious. You must study the object or location closely for a minute to get a feel whether the mystical touches at work. I think we can tell this one's kind of mystical.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, but for me, I really want to try and use, do I have an XP left over?
You used one to re-roll.
I used one, and that
You
was
get
the only
one
one that was gifted.
automatically every session.
Oh,
You
Every
every
get one.
session. So
you get
okay,
one, yeah.
okay,
So you
yeah,
have
so I
one.
got given one. Great, cool.
So I would have another one.
Yes.
You should.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have 2 left. Okay, because I had 3. Because you gave me one and I have one on my own.
I was just trying to see if any of my XPs, if my intrusions would be a good thing
Not
in
that
here.
this is going to come into play at all.
What do you got?
Okay, yeah, I think I'm just going to use being trained in it to bump it down by 2, right? Or is that
Trained is 1,
trained
specialized
is 1,
is 2.
specialized is 2. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm also going to try to. Okay, you know what?
Can I suggest an idea?
Yeah.
Can I suggest something?
Yeah. Sudden vision.
You have been fed by somebody who is wonderful, and they have given you something that was only supposed to last a day.
Oh, that's right.
And so you have sort of this miscellaneous pool points that you can spend
Yeah.
as part of your blessing to say lower that.
Hot dog. That's
Target
right. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna do a pool bonus out of intellect in
Okay.
order to lower that significantly. In
Fabulous.
fact, can I use a bunch of them?
You can use 3 points of it.
3
Now,
points.
unless your edge is your edge in
My edge is an intellect,
intellect, so it would cost you 2,
so it cost me 2.
right? And you're trained, so you're already lowering at 2. So from a 4, it becomes a 2.
Now it's a 2. Okay.
Yes.
Could I make it 0? Just auto win.
I don't think you can auto win that.
If I
effort.
spent more, or are you only allowed to spend a certain?
Yeah, you can
amount?
only spend so much per roll.
Fine. Okay. I suppose. All right. I just need to beat 6.
Yeah.
Oh God. Wait, do I have another one? I have I can use that.
You have an
roll.
XP, so you can
I have an
spend it and
XP.
reroll. Yep.
It was a
Oh my
2.
goodness.
I think it's
You
catching.
become possessed by the book.
19. Okay.
Okay.
There we
cool.
go.
That's so much better.
Oh
Oh,
my
my gosh. The first one was a 2. I told you to keep your 2s on your
I'm
side
sorry.
of the table.
They
over
just get
there.
away.
I don't.
This is the fun that happens when we play in person together. So you reach out to.
You can't mute me here.
Nope. I'm not hearing. I'm not interested in muting you. You reach out and you collectively feel the roots of this place. And you feel really 2 things. One, these snakes are unnaturally drawn to this place. And they've been drawn to this place by someone, but that someone is not Pastor Moon.
Uh-oh.
It is something here, perhaps deeper yet in the crust of this place, that they're drawn to. Moon is just a figurehead. He's figured out how to talk to them and control them. Anyone with the knack could probably long-term figure that out. And then you're like, oh, I can figure that out. It's really just talking to them in their own tongue. And so you reach out and you read some very specific words in that book that neither one of you understand. The syllables don't make any sense. And you feel the collective eyes of all of these snake presences look back at you like, what would you like us to do?
Go away.
Okay. You ask them to recede, to go back into the earth once they came, and
Yeah.
to leave this space.
Leave this place. Yes. What does it do to the people? Do the people respond to this as well?
That's a good question. So the reactions are pretty visceral and pretty immediate, actually. The snakes that are on people sort of slough off of them, as does any of the skin that has been infected by this presence.
Mhm.
And so many of these congregation members are suddenly very ill of health as they're losing this taint that's been brought by these snakes. Moon is incredulous.
Mhm.
He's screaming obscenities at this point, and he's furious that his control has been taken. You see Randy come too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was rearing back to hit you again, and you see him wake up like he doesn't know where he's at. And he says, Samson, what's going on?
You need to leave now.
He sort of lowers his hand. It's like he doesn't know where he's at.
Go home.
He looks around and sort of sees the other congregation members, people he now has no idea who they are, and slowly walks out, sort of confused. So you're a boar.
I am a boar, and I'm gonna go bite the pastor in the leg.
All right.
Gore him with your little tusks.
So the pastor is a difficulty 4. Actually, wait, no, he's 3 technically. He's only 4 when he's snake handling. So he's a difficulty 3, so it's 9 or better. If you'd like to go up and gore him or bite him.
I would.
You're going to give him the old Hakuna Matata?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you? Aching for some bacon. The big pig. You could be a big pig too.
Pull him out. You said it's a 3 or better?
I did.
Alrighty.
Are you trained in boring?
Maybe.
Can I do anything to assist the boar?
You are busy handling snakes, lady, okay?
I don't have anything that can, assist the biting. So
It's a little bit better than a 50-50 roll.
So what was it, 3 or better?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're going to spend pool points, it needs to happen before you roll, just so you know.
That's true. So let's do that. And we are going to... You said, is it a might? Did you say it was might?
It is might.
And I don't have an edge in might. And I have to spend 3 pool points.
Remember, you can roll immediate recovery, 1d6.
Can I use effort to lower
You can.
That will lower me to spend 2 points, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we'll use the effort on that, and it'll be 2 points, which puts me at 4 might, which is freaking great.
And don't get hit.
Yeah. So then I'm going to... I got a 17.
Okay, so 17 in combat is minor effect. So you're biting?
Yeah, but I have the tusks too, so they probably...
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably click.
Yep.
You rush up onto the altar and you snatch hold of his leg and bite. And when you do, you have to turn the snout, which of course you're not necessarily used
That'd
to
be fun.
having a boar snout. But
Yep.
that's okay because
Bye.
you sort of nick him in the upper shin and you hear him, cry out in pain and grab his leg. Unfortunately, you get covered by something.
Oh, sweet.
So when you bite into him and your tusk hits his leg, there's this viscous black fluid that comes out of his leg.
Oh, and it's all in my mouth and
It is
stuff.
now.
Ugh.
And that taste is going to be in your mouth for a long time.
Sweet. And that is why I started
And
drinking.
that's why you start
The
drinking.
end.
Ah, there it is.
So I think it's a fantastic way to end.
Yeah.
Kayboro has seen something cleansed from it, which was terrible.
Yeah.
We got to meet Samson, as played by Skip, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
And we got to check out Clara and Elijah again, which was fun in this little prequel episode. So if you're watching or listening to this, then I would just say, if you'd like more of our hijinks, please stop over and check out Family Reunion, Artwork Gods of Appalachia. And if you like it, then maybe encourage us to play some more. Maybe some on stream we could play with some friends.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you all really soon.
Hi.
Bye.